Hi, scholars. My name is Mrs. Houston Taylor, and I am the media coordinator at Eno Valley Elementary. I would like to say welcome back to what is going to be a wonderful and adventurous school year. As you know by now, we are going to be learning online. So, by now, I'm sure you already have your Chromebook. Maybe it's a Chromebook that you picked up at the school or your own personal device at home. So today I wanted to do a lesson on how to protect your Chromebook, how to log in using your username and password, and how to be safe and follow certain behaviors on Zoom while you're using Zoom. So let's talk a little bit about your Chromebooks. You're getting ready to use your Chromebook. I'm going to open it up. Oh, but before I open it up, I'm going to look at my hands. Are your hands clean? Did you just finish eating pancakes with syrup and now you have sticky stuff all over your hands? What is the first thing you need to do? I think you need to go and wash your hands. That's very important, boys and girls. These Chromebooks are expensive and we really want to take care of them. So if you're using a Chromebook and you have dirty hands, the very first thing I want you to do is to go and wash your hands. Okay? Secondly, now look around at the table or the desk that you're using. Do you see something to drink? Do you see a water bottle that's halfway open? Please move it out the way, because the last thing that we need to happen to those Chromebooks is for water or juice to spill all over them. Because if it gets all into the keyboards, it may ruin the Chromebook. So please move everything away from your Chromebook. We don't want anything to ruin it or any accidents to spill all over it. We have to keep our Chromebooks nice and safe. Now, I'm going to close my Chromebook. I'm never going to slam my Chromebook. And when I need to transport it or move it from one table to another table, I need to carry it with care. Maybe even with both hands or tucked under one hand. If I'm going to move it to a table, I'll move it and I'll walk carefully with the Chromebook in my hand, and I'll place it on the table. And as I get ready to open my Chromebook, I am going to gently use the keys on the keyboard. I'm not going to bang on them. I'm not going to slam on them. I'm not going to slam my case down. I'm going to use gentle hands when I'm handling my keyboard on my Chromebook and just the Chromebook itself. Okay? Now, let's talk about cleaning our Chromebook. Now, I know wipes, disinfectant wipes, pretty hard to find these days, but I was lucky enough to have some. So I took a wipe out of my little container and I have a wipe right here. It's not soaking or full of liquid. It's a little bit damp, a little bit wet. So I can take a disinfectant wipe and I can clean my Chromebook gently. It's not pouring down with liquid. It's just a little moist. I can use it to wipe my plastic case, or I can use it to wipe the keys on my keyboard. Nowadays, that's very important because we want to keep our devices as germ-free as possible, okay? But never just get anything that's super wet. You can take a disinfectant wipe that's gently wet, not a lot of liquid, and you can wipe carefully the case of the Chromebook or the keyboard, okay? That's important. Let's keep our Chromebooks nice and neat and clean. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your usernames and passwords. If you came to the school last week, you probably already got your username and password. I also have all of everyone's usernames and passwords, so if you don't have it, I have it, and I'm going to send it also to your teachers, okay? Now, you're going to need your usernames and passwords to get into Canvas or Clever when your teacher starts posting assignments or videos up on Clever. You're going to need that username and password. So if you don't have it, I'm going to send it to your teachers, and I also have it. When you get your username and password, please do not share that information with anyone. That's your private information, your username and password. Now, what I suggest that you do, you can get a little strip of paper, You can write your username and password down, and you can tape it onto your Chromebook so you'll always have it. Okay? Now, let's talk a little bit about Zoom. Now, that is the format that many of your teachers probably will be using to do lessons. Now, when you have a lesson using Zoom, there are certain behaviors that we expect you to abide by on Zoom. Now, I've been on many Zoom calls since this pandemic began. And I think Zoom is a wonderful resource when it's worked or used properly. Now, one thing I'm going to say is when you get on Zoom, there's a little microphone at the bottom left-hand screen of your screen. You need to make sure it has a circle with a line across. That means your microphone is turned off. You want that microphone to be turned off, because if you don't, there's just going to be a lot of background noise. And if everybody has their microphone turned off and all this back noise from everyone's computers and everyone's home is onto the screen, it's going to be very distracting. So you make sure your microphone is turned off, and only when you want to ask a question or if you have something to say and your teacher has given you permission, that's when you can unmute yourself and talk on the microphone. Now, we are expecting most of you guys to keep your camera on. I'm sure your teacher will give you more expectations as far as that is concerned, but for the most part, you will have your camera on, but your microphone off, unless you're about to speak. Now, once you have done that, make sure your camera is like eye level. You don't want the camera up to the ceiling or onto the floor. You want it to be eye level so that we can see your beautiful face. And I just would say, be mindful of what's going on around you. If you have a lot of people that live in your household, maybe you need to put your computer screen or yourself in front of a plain white wall. That way, no one will be able to walk behind you or talking behind you. You'll be behind a wall. A wall will be behind you, and you'll be in front of the camera. So just be mindful of who is around and what is behind you. All right. So in today's lesson, you learned how to care for your Chromebook. You learned that you should protect your username and password by not giving it to anyone else. And you learned that you should have proper manners when using Zoom. Tune in next week for another important lesson from Miss Houston Taylor, your school library and media coordinator. See you guys soon.